The true worth of a man is not where he started during the times of comfort, but where he started during the time of distress, where he starts during the time of crisis. Nairobi is in crisis. Nairobi is underwater. Nairobi, a city that was seen as a city in the sun, is now a city in crisis. This is the city that was given to Johnson Sakaja, the UDA governor. And we have lost many people as a result of floods. We have seen deaths occurring in many parts, in many estates. Roads have become impassable. Some buildings are no longer accessible. You cannot access some buildings because of the raging floods. This is happening, and the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, is just mum. William Samoei Ruto assured the nation all is well. William Samoei Ruto has not told Kenyans what the Met Department is saying. This makes me miss Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Because if it were Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, I strongly believe that by now he could have addressed the nation. I believe by now he could have told Kenyans what to expect and the measures to take. And he would be maybe accompanied by the governors and maybe some experts from the Ministry of the Environment, from the Met Department especially. But what are we saying, ladies and gentlemen, from UDA government? Because when I look at UDA government, I see a government that was not ready to lead this nation. When I look at UDA, this makes me understand Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta better. When Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta took some functions of the city and gave it to the metropolitan, the metro at Abadi, I think he did the right thing. He decided to give it to the military to manage because the city is just so important. When I look at Sakaja, Johnson Sakaja, Sakaja seems to be clueless. His administration seems to be overwhelmed. His administration seems to be incompetent. When I look at William Samoei Ruto, I see mwenye moyo mgumu sana kama wa Firauni. Firauni au Pharaoh sometimes would discuss issues with Moses, and his heart was hardened. So William Samoei Ruto is just like Pharaoh of Egypt, with a very hardened heart. Even when people are dying, he's not addressing this issue. Even when the floods are raging and no part of the country has been spared, the president is not coming out to assure the Kenyans. Remember, the presidency is a symbol of national unity. Remember, the presidency or the president ni baba wa taifa. Ndio anaitwa baba wa taifa kwa sababu ya ile ofisi ambayo yako pale. But when you see things getting out of hands, when you see things going haywire, and William Samoei Ruto is not saying anything, Wakenya tuna sababu ya kuuliza maswali chungu nzima. Because you know, when crisis occur, I remember when Iran sent missiles to Israel, William Samoei Ruto called for restraint. I remember when Israel and Palestine started firing, William Samoei Ruto talked about it very fast. So does it mean that the president can only talk about crises that are happening outside the country? Yet, Kenyans who are actually his children are just watching as people perish in water, as the storm rages. And we know that this storm is going to continue according to the Met. And you remember very well, the government must have briefed by the meteorological department But they chose to keep quiet. They didn't talk about it. They didn't even assure Kenyans what to do. And what we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing, like now today, William Samoei Ruto has just opened the Buge Towers. He has just opened the Buge Towers, and I've heard him saying that the houses, there is some concern about the size of the houses. So you can see that he is quick to come out and maybe look at things that are political. But now when it comes to Mama Boga, when it comes to mtu wa mkokoteni, when it comes to mtu wa kupagusa viatu, then William Samoei Ruto, that's where the story ends. That's where the discussion ends. Because these are people who need to be rescued. When we have a third of the Nairobi residents in crisis, when you have about that percent of Nairobians in water, then you have all the reasons to have sleepless nights. When you have about 600,000 Kenyans left homeless because of the floods, I think the government should come up strongly with the Red Cross, with the people who are concerned, the rescue team, including the military. That's the time to bring the nation together. I even remember when the terrorists waligoga Nairobi the first time. Was it 98? Yeah, when they waligoga Nairobi pale, the American embassy. I remember even that time, the opposition and Daniel Toroitich Armoy, they came together in unity to stand for our nation, to defend our nation, to speak in one voice, to assure the Kenyans. And that was then. And I remember during that time, the division between the opposition and the government was very wide. And they could not even talk in one voice. But that time, that day, I think it was September. What is September 11? Yeah, they united. They came together. So this is a time that William Samoei Ruto needs to bring all the leaders together. In fact, there should be a crisis meeting and declare the floods a national disaster, just to show that he cares. And by the way, I want to thank Raila Amolo Odinga, because Raila Amolo Odinga spent the better part of the nights, yesterday night, meeting Azimio elected leaders to come up with mitigation measures. Raila is equal to the task. You see, Raila is not controlling the instrument of states. Raila is not controlling the instruments of power. But Raila knows what to do. Raila can get time with his limited resources and bring the Azimio leaders together to come up with ways how are they going to help the people. Or is it that because William Samoei Ruto did not get enough votes in Nairobi, is it the reason why he's not talking? Because we need to ask ourselves, why should the president keep quiet when the floods are raging? Why should the president keep quiet when things are getting out of hand in Nairobi? When he is needed most, that's what we are saying. According to Martin Luther King, a man is known from where he stood during the time of crisis, but not where he stand during the time of comfort. This is when to know William Samoei Ruto. Do we have a government that cares? These are the questions that Kenyans should ask themselves. Even an assuring voice is enough to give Kenyans hope. Some things, by the way, an assurance is what Kenyans need. And maybe rallying Kenyans to come together and face this situation. Whatever you may call it, the country is in crisis. The country needs to come together. UDA government need to show the way. Because without that, then they have a case to answer when it comes to voting in 2027. Kulikuwa na mafuriko, mlikuwa mnanyamaza tu. Watu walikosa mahali pa kulala, nyinyi mlikuwa mnalala vyumba vya kifahari. Mlikuwa mnalala vizuri sana bila kujali yale ambayo yalikuwa yanawapata wananchi maskini wapiga kura. Hao ni maoni yangu. Gashis Kama TV, the Tallest Man in Black Africa. Please take a minute, like this video, comment, and maybe say what you think about the way Samoei Ruto is handling the floods, especially in our city. Bye-bye.